everyone, and welcome to Quilt Club for February 2024. Time is getting on. We are halfway through our program. So that's kind of amazing, actually. The time is flying by and it feels like spring out there, so everything feels a little bit weird. So we've got lots of stuff coming up. We've just got our newsletter for February ready to go, so you'll see that in your email imminently, if not already. So there's a few things I want to tell you about, and then we'll move on to this month's program. So as I mentioned last month, this is the 30th anniversary of Country Concessions in 2024, so that's super exciting. And we are celebrating each month with 30% off one particular item on the 30th of the month. In February, it's going to be February 29th. So this month we are celebrating with 30% off Olfa rotary cutter blades. So that's a really, really good one. There's a number of different sizes of rotary cutter blades. Most of you will probably have a 45mm blade, but we can get the big 60s, which are great for going through multiple layers of fabric. And then you can also get to 28mm and 18mm. 28mm are actually really nice for extra control and precision. But as I say, most of us have 45mm cutters. So we have various sizes of the packs of blades on special. You will see them on our website. We've got mostly singles, 5s, and 10s. But you can go to the website on February 29th. It's only one day only, from midnight to midnight, and they will be 30% off. So because we aren't sure of what the demand is going to be, we've brought in an absolute ton of stock. But if we do run out, your price will be honored, and we will send it to you or have it ready for pickup just as soon as we're able to restock, which would probably be within a week or two. So blades on February 29th. So don't forget to mark that on your calendar. I'll be sending email reminders, but that's one not to be missed. This month we're having a fabulous sale on red and pink fabric. In store only, and it is this week, so starting February 12th and running to February 18th. So 1 week only, 25% off all pink and red fabric. And it's a meter minimum cut. And just to make sure you understand, it's predominantly pink and red fabric. So it can't just have a little tiny flower that's pink. It's predominantly pink and red, or the background's pink or red. And speaking of celebrations, there's a reminder in the newsletter that we like to celebrate your birthday with you. So if you come in on the day before, the day of, or the day after your birthday, you'll get a 25% off discount as a birthday gift from us. And that is on your one-time purchase on one of those 3 days. So we hope you'll be able to pop in on your birthday and have fun with us. We've got a reminder about our Hills and Valleys Quilt Shop tour. We've got a great project. It's going to be a little bit different in each store, so don't have all the details to reveal yet, but we're pretty excited about it. It's very different from our usual shop hops. It's going to be running May 2nd to 4th, and it is ourselves, Creekbank sewing machines in Mount Forest, Threads That Bind in Maxwell, and Creemore House of Stitches in Creemore. So the 4 shops are involved. We have wonderful prizes, and it's a really great time. It's a fun time of year to go out and tour around in the countryside. In March, we're going to be doing a fun special event. We're calling it March Madness. And it is a little crazy because we are going to be giving a free pattern with every purchase over $60 before taxes. So that's online or in store. So I just ordered all the patterns today. So it's a lot of patterns we're going to be giving away. So that should be fun that month. Also in March is the Worldwide Quilting Day, which is going to be on March 16th, a Saturday. And we will be having specials that day, but it's a secret for now what we're doing. So you can hold your breath and watch the emails for more details. Every month we have a class winner. Anybody who attends one of our classes is entered into a draw for a monthly prize of a $50 gift card. So this year's winner was Marianne Feifeld. So congratulations, Marianne. I'm not sure if she's come in shopping yet, but it's a nice little treat to get. Also in the newsletter is information about our classes, but for those who are watching virtually, it's probably easier for you to go to our website and click on the class drop down, go to class schedule, and you'll see all the classes that are coming up from February through, we've got a lot of them posted for April already, so you can plan ahead for that. Okay, so moving on to the block for this month. I've actually got it this time, hooray! So here's this month's block. It's really pretty. It's almost like a little basket in the corners there. So, and it's got that nice pop of color. So you can pick what you're going to use for your pop there. Behind me, you'll see the 2 blocks for in our sample quilts. So they're marked with the arrows. We've got the one up here is the one that's on point, and it does look quite different from the one. I'm going to move this just a titch. There is the one, you can see it marked with the arrow for the one that's straight on in the blues and oranges. So they're both beautiful blocks, a little bit different from each other, but really, really nice blocks. So in her how-to this month, you'll find the video on our website as usual. Jen has not spent a great deal of time on the block instruction because it is so similar. You're using techniques you've already covered. So you've got the square and the square in the center, and then you've got a lot of half square triangles. So it's a very simple block to make. You'll have a lot of fun with it. So again, Jen has talked a little bit about things that you can use to improve your precision and your whole quilting experience. So one thing that we talked about is in the how-to video is rulers. And I'm going to put this down here. Yes, you can see it. So when you put a ruler down and you're going to cut, the ruler can slide a little bit. So you have to be careful that your ruler is staying firmly in the correct position. One way is to spread eagle your hand, and that gives you greater control. But you can also use rulers that have a grip system inherently built in the ruler. So Creative Grids rulers all have a little roughness on the back of the ruler that helps prevent them from sliding. Quilter Select has a grippy back surface that prevents them from sliding. If you've got a regular ruler that is quite slick, it's just smooth acrylic and you find it slides around, we've got this wonderful product. This has been out for a while. It's called Grippy, and it's from a company called Odif. They make the 505 sprays, tons of different kinds of excuse me, adhesive products that you can use in your quilting and crafting. So this Grippy is designed specifically for putting on the back of your ruler. This is not an open one, so I'm not going to actually spray, but take the top off and it just looks like an ordinary spray can. It sprays a very fine mist. What you're going to do is you are going to spray it on the back side of your ruler, just a light coating. It will go on slightly translucent. It dries virtually clear, and it gives a grippy surface without it being tacky or sticky. It's quite remarkable. And when you have that on the back of your ruler, when you're pressing down on your ruler and putting any forward pressure, your ruler will not slip. It's absolutely unbelievable how well it works. A little goes a long way. This spray is also great for putting on the back of applique templates or small rulers, which are kind of hard to hold because you're holding your hand in a tight little grip to press down on the ruler. So it helps prevent them slipping. It's a great product. This is $13.99 less your 20%. Another thing that Jen talked about was different types of marking pens. A lot of the time we're finding, unless we're using a specialty ruler, we have to draw a line down the back of a fabric piece in order to make half square triangles, for example. So there are a number of different marking tools that work really well and will come away with heat. So first of all, we've got friction pens. A ton of you will have these. These are awesome pens. These are just 3 of the colors. We've got lots and lots of different colors. This is a clicker one. So it's a nice fine marking pen. You can see it comes to a nice fine tip. The color, they draw the color that's shown on here, and it will do a nice fine line on the back of your piece that you're going to want to mark. When you go over that with an iron, it will remove the mark completely, and it will also wash out. So these are wonderful for marking, particularly light fabrics. If you have a dark fabric, friction pens aren't always ideal because they won't show up on a dark fabric quite as well. So this is an extremely popular marking pen that we have. It's the white marking pen from Clover. Again, it has a very fine point. Well, there we are. So it has a nice fine point, and you can see it's white ink in there. So when you draw on a black or dark fabric, this shows up beautifully. And just a word to the wise, when you first draw your line with the white marking pen, it doesn't show up immediately. So don't think this pen's a piece of junk, it's not working. Give it a couple of seconds and then the mark actually becomes more visible. And this marks beautifully on dark fabrics. It's a really, really useful tool. These are $10.99, less than 20%. And if I'm going by memory, I think the friction pens are $6.99, less than 20%. So the white marking pen is a great addition, as well as the colored marking pens. So those are some wonderful products that Jen mentions in her how-to video that are really useful for those types of tools. Now, I got a few things to show you today. The first is a brand new product. This is also from Otif, who makes the Grippy. This is a spray, sorry, not a spray. This is a glue stick. It's called 505. It's the same adhesive in their 505 spray, which is great for putting together your quilt sandwich. This actually shows purple. So it's a nice dark glue. It'll show up when you spread the glue on the back of an applique piece or whatever application you need. And that changes to transparent within 10 seconds. So it washes out. It will not gum up your needle. And it's non-toxic. Ideal for holding your fabric provisionally and precisely in place while sewing or embroidering. So if you just want a temporary hold, you can put a dab of this glue on there. It'll hold it temporarily, and it does wash out. So it avoids the use of pins. It does not stain the fabric and disappears when washed. So a really, really useful product. Now, when people see 505, they often think about basting their quilt. This is not appropriate for basting your quilt because it's a relatively small glue stick. You need the spray for that, but it's great for any place where you're using glue to hold something in place, and you don't need the precision of a pen type glue stick. So these are wonderful. They're $10.99 less your 20%. Now, and those are brand new. We just got those in. The next thing I'm going to show you, this is called scrap tape. This is really cool. So this is a roll of the wider scrap tape. This is 5 inches wide. And I also have a roll of scrap tape that is 2 inches wide, 2.5 inches wide. So you can see it's a very fine interfacing type product. It's totally stable. It will not stretch at all. And the idea with this is that you can take your scraps and you can attach them, quilts, just flip and sew along the length of your strip of tape. The 2 different sizes of tape are intended for 2 different purposes. This is great for using for scrappy binding, for sashing, for straps for purses, anything like that where you want to use up your scraps and create a relatively narrow strip of pieced sashing that's not going to stretch. So it doesn't matter if your scraps are on the bias, on the straight of grain. When you attach them to this, it's good and strong. It's not going to stretch, so it's great. So when you're putting these pieces together, I'm just going to grab an extra piece here. So I've just been flipping and sewing along here. So the next one, I'm going to try and hold on to this. I'm going to just put those right sides together. Then I'm going to stitch it through the layer of interfacing the scrap tape, and then I'm going to flip and press, and I was just finger pressing as I went. I didn't go to the yarning board once. And then I'm going to sew another one and flip and press. So you build this up really, really quickly depending on the size of your scraps. And as I say, some of my pieces were even triangles, and I just popped them on there and used the next piece to cover it up. Then you go to your cutting mat, lay that with the tape side up, and then you can trim either side of the tape, as you can see there, trim it off, and then you get that neat edge finished on there. So it makes a beautiful tape. I'm quite excited about this because this is going to be the binding on a quilt. And I think it's going to be beautiful, and I've got lots and lots and lots of scraps, so I can build that all up. The wider one is great for either making a block. You can sew, flip, and all that, and then trim it to the size that you want, either 5 by 5 or 5 by 10, whatever you want to do, or you can use it for a border. So you can just build your scraps up in the same way. There is another wider size, 13-inch size. We did not bring that in, but if you would be interested in getting it, we can certainly special order that in for you. So the scrap tape is wrapped with plastic around it. You have to cut that off, but then you've got lots and lots and lots of scrap tape on there. So the narrow one is $34.99 less your 20%. And the larger one is $62.99 less your 20%. And I was just looking if I could see quickly how much is on this roll. 25 yards. So you have a lot of scrap tape for the price that you're paying. So that's another really fun product. Okay, now I'm going to just move direction here. So excuse me while I duck down. I'm just going to wheel over here because I need the design wall to show you the next stuff. So the next thing I'm going to show you is called the folded corner clipper. This is a tool from Creative Grids. So it comes all packaged up like that. There's two different sizes. This is the large one, which goes from 1 up to 10.5 inch or 10 inches. And the little guy here goes from 1 to 5 inches. So they're both excellent tools. The large one covers more bases, but they both do exactly the same job, and they're really, really useful. So what inspired us to show this product this month is a new quilt that we've got, and I can't show you the whole thing, but I'm going to bring this close. You can see this beautiful, beautiful quilt here. It's called Same Sky. This is the packaging. Now, this product is not 20% off because it's brand new on the floor. So what inspired us is this is a very piecey quilt, but absolutely stunning. It's hanging up in the store. And it uses the folded corner clipper. You can use that to do all your piecing. And it just, our sample maker used it and just, you know, was blown away how well how much it helped her create this project really easily. So the folded corner clipper is a Creative Grids ruler. So it has the grippy system on the back. So when you put that down, the ruler will slide around to change position, but when you put pressure on it, it doesn't slide around on your fabric. It works really well. Comes with a great set of instructions that shows all the different types of blocks you can make. So this is some of the types of blocks you can make. So basically it's taking any kind of unit that has a different fabric added to the corner. And in our Same Sky quilt, virtually all the blocks have a different color fabric added to the corner. So the first one I'm going to show you is when you want to add a colored end to your unit. And I wish this wasn't gray because it doesn't show up so well. We're going to add that on there. We're going to add a square. And typically you would draw a line across from point to point, sew on one side of the line or the other, and then trim off the corner. With the folded corner clipper, you're going to take your ruler and you're going to just put it on your fabric here. You've got a squared off corner at the top and a little angled line at the bottom there. I'm going to bring this in a little closer so you can hopefully see a little bit better. So you can, and then you're going to trim before you sew. So you trim before you sew and then stitch that, and then this is going to flip out to the side, and you can see that's what I'm adding on the corner there. So once you've done that, you end up with a unit that looks like this. You can put another one on the other corner and you've got a flying geese unit. So it's an awesome start. Now this is one of those rulers that keeps on giving, and I'm going to go through these relatively quickly. If you go to our YouTube video, our YouTube channel, you'll find a video there that I did, maybe about 2 years ago, demonstrating the same ruler. So it shows in more detail. So for this one, I want to add corners in, add triangles in all my corners. So I'm going to put my little triangle up here, and then I'm going to get my folded corner clipper, and I'm using the large size here. And instead of having to draw a line, I'm just going to put the folded corner clipper on there, and then I'm going to line up the cut off engineered corner at the top and my little angle at the bottom, cut that off, and then I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch away from the trimmed edge and then press that out, and that'll be my first one. So what I end up with is a corner that looks like this. I know it's on the other side, but I've stitched it across here. When I press that out, I've added on a nice contrasting corner to this unit. And once I've added on all 4, then I get this beautiful unit. So you can see that I'm getting lots and lots of different shapes. The next thing it will do is help you make half hexies. Say this ruler keeps on giving. So when I have got a rectangle like this one's 2.5 inches by 6.5, I can stack up multiple units, and then I'm going to trim the corner just like I did in the last one. I'm going to take off the corner, and take off that corner, and then I can rotate my ruler and take off the other corner. So this is to make half hexies. So I'm going to trim off that corner as well. Once I've trimmed off both corners, I'm going to end up with a series of units that look like this. And when I take those units, I turn it one perpendicular to the other. Because they've got the engineered corners, they stack up really nicely. And then I can just fold that out, and I can stitch them end to end, and I end up with a bunch of units like this. In exactly the same way, you can make binding. I can stack up 2 strips. These, when you're doing binding, you want them stacked up, both facing up, so they're right sides up. When I put, flying by the seat of my pants here. When I've stacked those up, then I'm going to go to one end, and I'm going to trim off the corner with my folded corner clipper. So I end up with 2 pieces that look like this, trimmed off. And again, just like the hexie, you can put them perpendicular to one another, fold and stitch and press, and you've got beautiful binding that works out precisely. You can also use it to make mitered borders using exactly the same technique as the binding. You just have the pieces right sides together when you're trimming them. So we end up with a number of different, and I'm going to back up here again. I've got a few samples I'm going to show you real quick. So this one is called Begonia. This is a pattern from Cut Loose Press. It's really, really pretty. Every unit in it is done with using the folded corner clipper. So that's a great pattern. So that's Begonia. And then we have the Easy Street Crib Quilt. Now, hopefully I can show you enough of this. Yeah, that works pretty well. So there's the Easy Street Crib Quilt. Again, it's a Creative Grids pattern, and that's all done with the folded corner clipper. And this one is called Hexie Imposter Table Runner. And again, all done with the folded corner clipper. So we have patterns for all of those, and we have the rulers. So the 2 rulers, the large size is $47.99 less your 20%. The small one's $33.99 less 20%. And then the patterns, there is Begonia, Easy Street Table Runner, which is just the same as the crib quilt, except smaller, obviously. The crib quilt, Easy Street Crib Quilt. Hexie Imposter Runner or Quilt. And then there's one more that I don't have a sample for that's called X Marks the Spot. And all our Creative Grids patterns are $5.99 less your 20%. So endless possibilities with this ruler, so it's not a one-trick pony. You'll be able to use it over and over. Anyway, that is everything I had to show you today. I think I've covered everything, and I hope you have a wonderful month. If you have any problems with your block, please don't hesitate to call us, and be sure to post your finished blocks on our Facebook page. Thank you, everybody. See you again soon.